What's up, everybody? Anthony here, Empire Music, empiremusic.com. Phone number at the shop, 412-343-5299. Anything you need at all, feel free to reach out anytime. Loving this bass, loving this brand, Ernie Ball Music, man. It's the newest lineup here in the shop. It's so nice to move outside of some of the, I love the Fender stuff, but it's really cool to get a fresh perspective on basses and tones and pickups and feels. And, you know, Fender's iconic, Music Man's iconic. It's great. And an iconic bass player, honestly, a more modern player than sometimes we think about as far as artist series. But this is the Tim Commerford StingRay. And this is the active model. So we have a 3-band active EQ in here. There's also a passive model in the lineup that we will do in another video. So we're going to focus on this. The color is... it's bold. When I set it up in here, I walked out of the room, I came back in. I'm pointing to the door like you know where that's at. It's over here. I walked out of the room to check some specs, which I'm sure I'll get wrong anyway. And I walked back in, I'm like, oh, man, that is bright. And Brent, who does the filming here, looked up and he said, oh my God, like it is one of the boldest, brightest reds you're ever gonna see. It's called Caliper Red. Ash body. Love it with the white guard. That looks good. It's the 3-ply white guard, so parchment, black parchment. That's the plies on it. So ash body, roasted maple neck, cool combination. Then we add an ebony fretboard on it. So we have like a bright, punchy body wood, a really transient focus. And when I say that, I mean like the front side of the note, so the attack of the note, really heavy with ebony. But you do have the roasted maple behind that kind of, you know, it's secondary tonally, actually probably tertiary, like if you think about that tonally, but it does mellow it out just a little bit. And I really like that. And we pair that up with this, again, punchy, bright, aggressive neodymium humbucking pickup in it. The active EQ on that, we can do a lot of tonal things to it. And also, it has the kind of string mute that you can raise up against the bottom of the string, the same way that the Pino Palladino bass had. Really like that feature on it. It also features a 9-volt, I'm sorry, it's not a 9-volt, it's an 18-volt preamp. That, I'm gonna say this, I read 18-volt, then I saw this, and I was like, wait, there's not 2 batteries in there. There can't be. It's stacked in there. So I will say this kind of right out the gate. While it's fine, and I like having the 18-volt, I like having that headroom, the stacked batteries in there, it was a little bit tough to get down to that second battery. I'm sure there's a reason behind not doing the 2 battery compartments on this. That's well above my pay grade, but I think I would like to see this, like the 2 separate battery compartments. I think it would just be easier to change, but not a big deal. Strung through the body, nice sustain, helps with that punch and that kind of aggressive tone. The 5-bolt Tim Commerford neck heel on it, pretty standard carve on that for what I'm experiencing with the Music Man stuff. Stainless steel frets. You have the compensated nut and the matching head cap on it. 3-in-1 tuners. What's becoming to me the best tuners in the business, and I mean this. I love the feel of these thick, tapered tuners. They're really, really heavy duty and substantial feeling. So that's kind of the specs on it. And the one thing that is a different choice, I think, string gauge. 50, 75, 85, 105. It's got heavy strings on it. I'm used to playing like low tension flats, and even in rounds, I would go 45, 105. So that'd be like what, 45, 65, 85, 105. So E and A feel, I guess, normal to me, but man, the D and the G string are like really, really thick feeling to me. So that's fine. You know, that fits Tim Commerford's kind of tone, his aggressive playing style. Sonically, I think that this really fits. And, you know, it's one thing I'm seeing here as I have now reviewed two signature Ernie Ball or Music Man basses. The Pinot basses, which are amazing, and I think some of the best basses to come out in a long time for a stock model. And these Commerfords, they fit the player very, very well. It's almost like, and it's easy to say that hindsight's 2020, but like if you didn't know who the artist was, you'd be like, yeah, I think that's probably Tim Commerford, right? Who massive influence on me as you know, growing up and playing bass late 90s. Like Rage was it. The aggressive sound, the genre blending. I was probably too young to really understand the social impact of what some of the things they were saying, but I really loved that band, and Tim's bass playing, while at the time wasn't hugely influential to me because my ears weren't developed enough to really pick out bass that well at that point. I'll just admit that. Later on, I was just like, oh, that, you know, by listening osmosis, I think it just kind of bled into my playing. So let's dive into some of the sonic characters of, oh, this isn't a pickup. How did I not talk about this? It's a thumb rest that's really just on his basses, and you can raise and lower this with, just looks like a Phillips head. Yeah, probably a small Phillips head. You can raise and lower this to where you need it. I'm not a huge thumb rest guy. And as many of you know, if you ever hear me play a 5-string, and I get plenty of comments on it, that E and the B string are just ringing out. Yeah, I'm not great at muting that stuff, or I usually just thumb rest on the E string is the most comfortable to me. Then I would float essentially for the rest of it. But I'm going to try and kind of play on the with the thumb rest here. Although I'll probably forget that, so we can watch that as the video goes on. But sonically, oh, and in the beginning of the video there, I had an overdrive pedal on using the Trickfish overdrive preamp, which I love, and I'm running through a Trickfish head. So we're running through the Bullhead Mini through a 112 cab. And I don't say this in all the videos, and I really should. We take a direct signal, and we take a mic signal from an SM94, which is not really known as a great bass mic, but I like the mid-range that adds, and I go about a 70-30 split heavy on the DI side, and just add maybe, you know, 25 or 30% in on the mic side, just to add a little bit of mid-range punch, and I really think that gives a solid sonic representation of the instruments. I always pride myself on what we can do here and representing the instruments as, you know, they sound here in the room, and how we can interpret it with our ears here out to you. So like really no processing on that stuff. Occasionally a little bit of compression we might just add to bring some gain up on the master bus. But let's dive into some of the sounds. So back to clean. I'm going to get everything flat. And I did have treble cut just a little bit in that intro. So let's dig into some of the sounds. Flat. So that's everything flat, bright, really punchy. It's an aggressive sounding bass. Again, fits the artist for sure. Bright, aggressive sound with a bright, aggressive red finish. If you like red, this is the one for you. And you like Music Man too, because I think this is just giving you tons of what the StingRay wants to give you, more so than almost anything that I've played yet. Maybe those strings have a little bit to do with it, but I find that the neodymium magnets really are like the modern standard for what the Music Man thing is. So we're going to cut some treble, we're going to boost a little bit of bass, we're going to keep mids where they are. Let's see where we're at here. So right away, you can obviously hear the bass being boosted. I'm going to dial that back a little bit. We've mellowed out the tone considerably just by cutting treble. God, I don't know, 10%. How does it mellow out though? So we know we can play aggressively with the bass, but let's go to some palm muting things. Or like light finger picking, or two-finger approach, finger style. We'll move our hand up. Can we get it a little dubby? It's hard there. Let's roll some treble off even more. Let's change the passage a little bit. Always wants to give some brightness on them. I'm going to take treble all the way off. Increase bass. Let's take some mids off too. There we go. So that's crazy. You have to take, at least for my attack and my preference, which this is always that, 10 players, 10 different ways. I'm taking treble. There's no treble on this bass. And there's still like a little bit there. Like that a lot, right there. Moving the finger back, everything really sculpted to have just bass up front. That to me right there, that's for again, total personal preference here, that's my sweet spot with this bass. Still take the pedal well. I really love that. Now we're gonna add some treble. Let's see where we can get to that line of mellow to aggressive. It happens pretty quick, but it's still not quite there. Let's put overdrive on that. It's funny, I want to add treble now that I'm using a pick. Ah. It's cool. It just takes a little bit of, again, I'm going to say this again, personal preference in here. And that's the beauty of getting all these amazing music mans in here, that I'm finding where I like each individual one. It really helps me be able to talk about them and sell them when people are asking about it. Let's go back to flat and see where that's at. Little slap thing. I am not used to this heavy gauge of a string either. It is throwing me for a total loop. I don't like making excuses in my video for poor playing or not feeling comfortable, but like the 50 to 85 on that it really is, or 50 to 75 is throwing me for a real loop feel wise. Maybe we're not going to slap too much in this video. Let's scoop some mids out and actually scoop them out and roll some treble off. Whoop, I was boosting it. All right, that feels better there. So I'm kind of like, my overarching thing for me is cutting frequencies on a bass like this. Sounds really good. Let's go back to flat though, just so we can kind of reference that. Again, bright, aggressive, very punchy, in your face kind of sound. Again, fits the artist perfectly. And then with a little bit of overdrive again. bass. It's an aggressive bass, and again, really fits the artist. When you think of Tim Commerford's playing, this kind of fits it to a T. So the active model, Tim Commerford, new 2025 Ernie Ball Music Man StingRay. This is in the brightest of bright reds, and they call that caliper red. It's a cool bass. It is not for the faint of heart. It's available now at Empire Music. Give us a call, 412-343-5299. As always, thanks for watching. See you next time.